Story 1. I was raised by a single father. He taught me to work hard, to be humble, to be kind, to be patient, and to value integrity and honesty. He also taught me how to cook, how to clean, and how to change the oil in my car to avoid paying for it at a mechanic. He taught me to kick a football, I'm Australian, how to budget, and how to plan an economical holiday. He taught me to love learning, but most importantly, he taught me how to accept, give, and express love. He was and still is an exceptional father. It's just a pity my mother didn't want to be around us. Story 2. My dad taught me to never settle in a relationship just because I'm afraid to be alone. He remarried an awful human being. Side note, she taught me how to never treat a child, no matter who they belong to. Life is full of lessons if you're open to learn. Story 3. What I think you need to learn, which will sound mean but that's not my intention, is to not let your mind run wild. For example, most fathers don't know how to fix a car, and the ones that did don't know how to fix more modern cars since they are so computer intensive. But when your father is too drunk to show you stuff, you think everyone else's father is showing them this stuff. Don't let your mind build this narrative about what you lost out on, because once you start letting these pretend relationships should have been victim-type situations control you, you become lesser of a person. I used to fish with my father a few times a year, but that's basically the only bonding we had. And in all that time we spent fishing, he never shared a single word of wisdom with me. We never talked about life or anything. Do I wish we spent more meaningful time together and played basketball together and built stuff together? Of course. I'd probably be a lot more handy than I am now, and it sucks to own a house and not be more handy. But we had a few times of fishing, and I learned all sorts of things not to do based on his poor behavior, and I'm grateful for that. Now, I'm my own man and not some adult still wishing my father would love me more or spend more time with me, and I'm grateful for that too. I got the father I got, I made the best of it, and now my goal is to be the best man I can be, regardless of my father's good or bad model. Story 4. I also had an absent father, but I did have my grandfather who taught me how to shoot, work with wood, and sharpen knives, basically all the rugged things. He was a hard man. Story 5. Most important thing my dad taught me was, don't complain about how something is done when you are not willing to do it yourself. If you think you can do it better, then do it. Story 6. My dad wasn't an alcoholic, and he still didn't teach me much or bond with me. He let my stepmother supplant me with her own son. I indirectly learned that you can't depend on your father for anything, and I had to learn the things I wanted to know for myself. I'm vastly superior to my father for developing that self-reliance, but I would have liked to have a significant relationship with a man more compatible with my worldview. I also wanted to have a significant relationship with my son, but he passed away as an infant, so I'm hoping to become another boy or man's mentor. Story 7. My dad was a carpenter. I could have learned a lot from him, but he was always drunk. He was fired from numerous places. He became self-employed for a while. He asked if I wanted to go to work with him one time. I was super excited about it. Not only would I be spending time with Dad, I'd learn some carpentry skills. Everything was great until lunchtime when we got so drunk he passed out. Here I am, about 14 or 15 years old, sitting with my passed-out dad at a job site waiting for him to wake up and drive us home. Those are some of the memories I have of me and my dad. Story 8. My dad was the world's worst mechanic, bought only cheap tools that broke during minor fix-it jobs, and was a lousy parent. We looked forward to him being on the road. My tools are excellent and well cared for. Knives are always sharp. My daughter always helped with bike repairs and home projects. Tools were put back in the box, cleaned, and wiped. A wedding present for my daughter was a nice toolbox. Filled. She fixed the belt on the dryer, removed the front door to let in the new fridge, and much more. My granddaughter, who is 4, noticed the toolbox and said it was Daddy's. My daughter corrected her, saying, "That's Mommy's toolbox." I learned my lessons well for the win. Story 9. If you don't give people the freedom to make their own decisions, they won't be able to make their own decisions. My dad is really good about letting me make decisions. Story 10. Being able to pick up any tool and use it, literally any hand tool, and use it competently. Be kind to those people and animals smaller than you. Work harder than the next person and you'll get ahead. Story 11. I read a comment a long time ago on Reddit that really resonated with me. I do not accept any credit for the story, but I have it here for all to read and take away from it what you will. I think it is relevant to your question. Before my stepfather killed himself with heroin and medication, he used to teach me manly things. One of which was that your animal is the only true unselfish love you will get. They only want you. They ask for nothing. One day, my cat got hit by a car when I got home from school. I was 11. Her name was Max because I was 6 when I picked her out, so everything was a boy. I ran inside yelling for help. She was screaming on the side of the road, and I didn't know what to do. He came out, and bless him, he tried. I was in shock and wasn't even crying. He could totally fix her, I thought. He fixes everything. It's a good thing he was home. He picked her up, turned to me, and laid her in my arms like a baby. She quit screaming and started purring. He explained to me that she was too broken. She was going to die. She needs you to hold her now till she passes. As long as you hold her, she won't hurt. Just talk to her. He then stepped past me and lit a cigarette about 10 feet away. He noticed I wasn't saying anything and I was starting to lose it, so he said, let's get her to the rabbit grounds, so I instinctively started talking to Max about rabbits. We walked about 3 minutes before the purring stopped. She had passed. I paused a step and panicked out at Dad. He just turned and said, "You got her, boy. That's all she wants." So I kept walking till we got to the hunting grounds. I dug while he watched and talked about how you always hold your friends. Makes them forget the moment and remember yesterday. They don't panic when you stick with them. That's what men do, boy. I laid her down and covered her. He asked, "Everything done?" I nodded. "You can cry." Many years later, after the families had separated, he contacted us to let us know he wasn't doing too good. When I was able to get out there, what was once a 250-pound mountain of a man was now a crumpled 100-pound piece of paper between worlds. That night, everyone was asleep around 2 a.m. I walked over to his bed and sat in the chair beside him while he was having one of his hallucinations. I picked up his hand. He couldn't even open it, so I held his arm while his eyes darted around the room as he whimpered at past sins or failed dreams. I said, "You remember when we had to lay Max at the rabbit runs? We didn't talk about rabbits much. I just held his arm and talked about the old house. What 15 years of growth must look like. How the old shed he built was probably still standing. He stopped shaking when I started talking about the smell of that field in the summer. How mint grew on the west side and would blow into the house when we would bush hog it. He just closed his eyes and went to sleep. He passed 24 hours later with only a few seizures, but no more whimpering. I like to think he spent his last 24 hours in that field with his 11-year-old son, watching the cats head out into the brush, taking a draw on that red and telling me we would head back in a moment. We stood there for an eternity." Story 12. That it's okay to break something more than it was originally broken while trying to fix it. You'll learn how the device works, and you won't make the same mistake again when trying to fix another device of the same construct. Story 13. My dad was an alcoholic too, and he died because of it. He wasn't much of a dad either. He disappeared one night, and I had very sporadic contact with him. He didn't teach me things directly, but he showed me through his actions what not to be, what not to do, and what a father isn't. He taught me that family isn't chosen in terms of blood, but it can be chosen in terms of which people you keep close to you. He showed me what substance abuse, lying, and thievery do and where it leads you. I know which roads to absolutely not take in order to become a decent human being. And for that, I thank him. Story 14. He taught me how to be a total piece of shit as a father, husband, and human. So I live my life as his antithesis. So far, so good. My wife respects me. My son loves me. People trust my word. Thanks, Dad. Story 15. Nothing really. My dad was a drunk too, and my mom was always too busy working. I was lucky enough to fall into a good group of friends that had an interest in automobile repairs and a grandpa who farmed. You can learn a lot of skills on a farm. Story 16. I have a physics exam to study for, but here are a few off the top of my head. Be kind to your mother. Sometimes you have to take a loss. You win some, you lose some. Go to school and make something of yourself so you don't become a ditch digger like me. Don't marry a woman just because she's the first girl you slept with. When she treats you like that, it's time to move on. A hard head makes a soft backside. Don't let your mouth write checks your backside can't cash. You have to pick your battles. Trouble rolls downhill. The animals who thought the grass was greener got run over trying to cross the road. Work hard, then play hard. Not my horse, not my rodeo. Don't ever let someone walk all over you. If they can live with it, I can too. There are some things in life you just can't change. Stay out of trouble. Always do the right thing. God bless, friend. Story 17, Dad here. Once you get into the professional world or any time in life and you make a mistake, own it. Don't sit around making a bunch of excuses and wasting everyone's time, including yours. Own up to it. Yeah, I'm sorry, I messed that up, but I'm doing something to fix it. No one likes that person with 1,000 excuses, but people will remember the person who was responsible for their actions. Story 18. When I was in 5th grade, I sold my bag of Pringles I brought for lunch to a very hungry classmate for 50 cents. I came back home and bragged about it to my dad over dinner. He immediately reprimanded me, told me to give the money back, and apologize. He taught me not to worship money and to have more compassion for my fellow humans. He curbed the laissez-faire capitalist in me at an early age, and I thank him for that. I can't imagine myself exploiting people for money now. Thanks, Dad. I'm lucky you're still alive and well. Story 19. I came to America when I was 16. My dad told me the evening before I flew out something that will stick with me for the rest of my life. He said everyone has a head and 2 hands. If they can do something, you can too. They can do it faster, better, but the point is you can. Worry about the rest later. Story 20. The best lesson my dad taught me was to stop drinking and see a therapist. He did not intend to teach me that. I just learned from watching him slowly lose everything. Story 21. My dad and I did not connect my entire childhood. So my answer is legitimate, but it sounds cheeky. He taught me never to believe promises. He broke several growing up. It was difficult then, but it did teach me as an adult not to expect much from people. Story 22. I can write 1 or 2 things. 1. Always wear a condom because sexually transmitted diseases can happen. And they will if you don't use one. Always wet your skin before shaving. Otherwise, you will just cut it in several places. It was a hard one to learn for me. A good motto in life is to try to be a little bit more respectful of everyone every day, and everything's going to be okay. You can't run from your problems indefinitely. You will have to confront them, and the sooner, the better. A trick for everyone. Don't ever say the first thing you think about something, particularly a name. That person has heard it a million times. Story 23. My father was a heroin addict, but he taught me how to fix things at home. He taught me how to develop a habit of reading books. He taught me how to hunt. He taught me how to be sober regardless of what's happening to you. He told me, panic dies, calm lives. And he taught me a lifetime lesson. Never go after solutions like drugs. Be there to face problems. Story 24. Bold of you to assume I had a good relationship with my dad. Most of the stuff I learned, I taught myself how. Anything I would do to try and help him, he would always belittle me and tell me that I was doing it wrong, and then never bothered showing me how to do it the right way. In the end, what I got out of it was self-reliance. So much so, that pretty much anything I do, I try to do by myself because the experiences I had trying to work as a team always ended up negatively, and then I am reluctant to ask for help or work with others. Story 25. My dad taught me a lot. I am really happy that he put a lot of time into it. I learned about table manners and how to eat at an upper-class level, which I think is something a lot of people miss. I learned driving, cooking, how to fix a car, and how to repair almost everything around the house without needing to call someone. He and my grandfather told me about wine and drinks, how to smoke a good old pipe, and how to be a good husband for my future wife. Story 26. Always carry a condom with you. You never know what is going to happen. Telling the truth is not always the best thing to do. Even your best friends will betray you someday. It actually happened to me. Story 27. My dad, by bad example and not much unlike your dad I presume, taught me not to bottle up my emotions and drink away my sorrows, though the lesson took a while to sink in. Sorry to hear about your troubles. Buddy, we will make it through. Do not worry. Story 28. When I was a kid, around 10, I started throwing a temper tantrum over something trivial, like not getting a toy. My dad knelt down, looked me in the eyes for a few seconds, then gave me a hug. He put his hands on my shoulders and said, "There are things in this life worth crying about. This isn't one of them." As he stood up, he gently messed with my hair. I felt comforted, loved, embarrassed, and accepted all at the same time. My dad taught me how to build, how to tear down, how to fix, and how to break. That's the moment that stands out to me the most. Story 29. Growing up, my dad would always tell us, "Remember who you belong to. Make yourself proud." And for my daughter, I'm going to add a third. You will be amazing. So remember who you belong to. Your tribe is who you make it. If nothing else, make yourself proud. And I think if you follow that, you will be amazing.